There's a very nice animation here to explain the control as well, because if you're looking at the cupcake with no baking powder in it, you see that it's still rising to a certain height. So it's not that there's no rising happening when there's no baking powder. So I would ask learners, okay, which one is the control setup? No baking powder. And here you can now see that even if there's no baking powder, there's still some rising of the cupcake happening. So the control allows us to compare how much of the height was actually caused by the baking powder. Okay. I would go on to the second one, and here again, I would ask them, okay, maybe which one is the control setup here? And the control setup is going to be the one that receives only water. And then you blow their minds. Then they're like, ma'am, that makes no sense. Shouldn't there be a fourth plant that has no liquid being added? And the answer is no. Why? Because a good scientist would have done some research beforehand and would know that a plant needs water to survive. So this is a very good example to get kids to understand this, right? Another way I like to think of the control is that it's the setup where nothing out of the ordinary is going to happen. So here we have a plant, it's receiving water. That's kind of the basic functions or the basic setup for any plant to survive. We're actually here not investigating the effect of the water. We're investigating the effect of other liquids besides water on the height of the plant. That's why the water represents our control. Your investigation would be inherently flawed if your control was a plant that received no water, because then you would have two plants that live and one plant that dies, and you can't compare the height of two living plants with a dead one. So that's not going to be a very valid experiment. So another place where this often comes in is with the photosynthesis experiments we have in grade 11. Kids often get confused because they don't understand why the plant that does receive the sunlight is actually the control and the one that does not receive the sunlight is the experiment. And again, it's because a good scientist would know that a plant needs sunlight for photosynthesis. That is the baseline measurement, right? So we're actually not investigating the effect of sunlight. We know what the effect is. We're investigating the absence of the sunlight. So another way to think of a control is that it's the setup where we have removed the independent variable or where nothing out of the ordinary is going to happen.